Sonia, would you please do the roll call?
Commissioner Lack?
Here.
Commissioner Zilli is absent. Commissioner Ekdahl?
Here.
Commissioner Munt?
Here.
Mayor Lynch?
Here. We have the approval of the minutes from the November 16th meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the payment of claims. We have three different groups of them. Dan, do you want us to do them individually, or can we do them collectively?
You can do them all in one flail swoop, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Everybody got the updates? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have motion and a second on the claims. Is there any discussion, any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have staff reports. Sandy, do you have a report? AJ is not here today.
Good afternoon. I do not have a staff report prepared, but if you all have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them.
We have no questions, Sandy, but
Yay.
thank you.
No problem.
We have no old business. Under new business, we have the removal of the North Drive at 6260 Central Avenue and the gate discussion. So we will open that up for discussion. Chief, would you like to step up here and say something?
Sure.
We always like to hear from you.
Hello. So, sorry I wasn't at the last meeting. I didn't know it was going to be on there, and then I watched the video and realized that it probably would have been helpful if I'd been here. So, yeah, so our biggest concern, I sent you that very crude map with my high-level technology skills. Basically what's happened was with the north parking lot that was put in, and then the east side additional spots that were put in, and then with the apartments growing to the west, we've essentially got a thoroughfare there now on the east side of the police department, which is basically being used as a road, although it is not a road. The north side of the police department is an alley, and then there's the parking lot, and there's nothing regulating stopping or anything at any of those intersections. So our concerns are twofold. Number one, that there is nothing stopping anybody from going north or south or east or west, and we're going to have some problems there. The traffic is increasing. So that would be problem number one. The second concern is just the amount of traffic that's going through there now, and whether or not that is a parking lot or whether or not it's supposed to be a thoroughfare. So we've had some discussions recently about maybe putting up some signs to try to stop, at least have some regulation there as to whether or not you guys want it to be a thoroughfare or a parking lot. I guess that part's not really my decision, but I at least want something, we need something there to at least have the traffic stop, because again, you've got people using that alley, and then you've got people using that essentially north-south thoroughfare as a road back to the apartments and over to the park, and there's nothing that stops either one of them. So it's just hope you don't meet in the middle kind of thing. And the traffic's increasing over there, and as we continue to put stuff in and have more events, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So when we have special events, we usually are closing that north end and some of the other stuff because you've got so much foot traffic in there. You know, we're closing it with barricades or whatnot right now. So like I said, my request is it's a twofold thing on, first off, getting something to stop the traffic, whether or not that's stop signs, do not enter signs we talked about, and then long-term, if that's something that we want to remain open or not. I'm fine with taking a look at it and seeing what happens if we put some signs up and see where it goes. I guess, again, long-term, it's just whether or not the design is for that to be access to the apartments or not, so.
Thanks. Yeah, I think most of the issues started when we put in that parking lot and creating a avenue or way or whatever.
Don't call it a road.
Yeah. Any way you want to talk about it, going from the apartments through to the police station, there are not any stop signs there to slow traffic down, so if we can start by putting up a few stop signs to kind of slow the traffic down and see if that alleviates some of it, and longer term, come up with a better solution. Sounds good?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Like I said, we can come back in a few months, maybe if there's just a ton of traffic that's coming through, but maybe this will take care of the problem. Again, I don't know what the long-term plan for everything back there is, but I do know that the more stuff that's going on back there, the more that's going to be used as a road, even though it's not a road, which if that's the plan and that's what everybody's comfortable with, that's fine. But if we want it to be basically a large parking lot, which then people are accessing the green space and the park, then do we want cars driving through it? I mean, I understand the idea with the curb there. Is probably maybe too permanent, and that's why we kind of just were kicking around ideas and came up with the idea of a gate that could be closed at different times. And maybe that's a long-term thing even for the events, if we want to have a gate there rather than having to have street department come out with barricades and all that each time. It would be something that we could open and close. But again, my number one concern is that there's nothing to make anybody stop. And we've been fortunate that we haven't had a collision there. So if we can address that first and then maybe be willing to revisit the other issue if we think that's worthwhile down the road. So
Superintendent Reader, as long as you're here, is that something the street department can do as far as putting up some stop signs? Sorry.
You're talking about all 6 of these? You have 6 areas.
Is that what you're talking about? I got a question. The alleyway, is that one way? It's not big enough to be considered a road.
no, but it's used both ways. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's two-way, and I mean, it's nice to have back there, but that's another issue in and of itself because it's being used as a road. There's a lot of traffic on it. It is our north exit and entrance out of the police station. It's tight. Like if you pull out of there, especially if you're gonna go west, and then with the businesses back there and the overgrowth, we've had to address that a couple times that we can't see out of it, so.
I've got a suggestion. You put your stop signs up, and where you have the do not enter signs, I would block that entrance exit to the parking lot. I would get rid of the direct crossover from
the alley?
to the roadway. And that's just traffic planner thinking. That would force everybody down to the entrances past the police station, force everybody to exit onto a roadway. And you're getting away from cross traffic on a one-way road that people think is two-way.
Yeah, like I said, that whole thing, I'm open to whatever. I don't, like I said, the easiest solution for us was to close that. If we're not in favor of that, then putting up some signs, trying to determine what we believe, where people should be driving and not. I think it's an unforeseen problem probably when it was all put in. It wasn't, I mean, I didn't even think about the fact that with that apartment back there, we were gonna have so much traffic. But again, we've got one dedicated road, as you're saying, east and west, and then we've got an alley, and then we've got a dedicated north-south road, and then we've got essentially a link between multiple parking lots, and people are using all 4 of those pathways as roads. So, and I don't even know what we do as far as maintaining the alley. I don't know, maybe Randy can speak on that, but.
The street department does plow that alleyway behind, or on the north side of the police station, so that is cleared of snow.
Do we need all 6 of those? That was kind of-
If you guys are in favor of letting
They're
us,
not the scale.
if you're in
It's
favor,
a great drawing, you got Sharpies, I mean, it was good.
my 14-year-old daughter,
Spelled right, it's good.
my 14-year-old daughter could have come in and really cleaned it up for me, but she was a little busy, but I think you got the gist of it. I mean, if you guys are in favor of letting us, take a look at, figure out exactly where the signs and things would go and letting us do that, I mean, I'd be fine with going back out there with Randy and sorting it out. I think we've got a pretty decent plan. Maybe there's a couple we could do without, but if that's the route that we're suggesting we do for now, and I think Randy and I can work on that, and just see what happens and then revisit it if,
Yeah, that's something that can be done in a week or two, or
yep.
in the short term, and then in the long term, see the impact and see how we can help alleviate the problem longer term.
I'm good with that. Work for you?
Yeah, it works for me.
Randy
Okay.
already has a sign, so on the way out, you
Huh?
can throw it up.
I just had some numbers if you were interested in some of the signage numbers. So we had this route here, this is a 18-inch. We use it for parks and other driveways throughout the city and stuff like that. Then we have our 30-inch regulatory stop signs. And if we went this route with some simple 4x4s, you're looking at probably a price to department of about $1,100 to $1,900. If we went to the regulatory signs, that increases about $1,500 to $2,400, just to give the board an idea of the cost. So,
Well, Randy, do you think we need 6 of them?
that's what we need to just determine, Chief and I.
Or just something that says no entry?
We could go that route too, it'd be a whole lot cheaper.
I think you definitely, well, yeah, I mean, we'd have to look at if we can substitute a no entry, but you're gonna have a cost on your no entry sign too, I would assume, correct? I mean, is there a cost to make the no entry sign also?
Yes, there's a
Yeah,
cost to
so-
every sign.
I mean, the biggest spot, again, is the northeast corner of the police department. So we need, ideally, everybody, either you should not be entering there, or everybody should be stopping. Those are probably the two options. Either we don't let them go north or south there, or all 4 stop. I think those are the two options for that section. And I can't recall off the top of my head if there's anything on the further north side. That's kind of away from the PD, and it kind of takes away our, I didn't look at that as much because I think that there's at least one actual dedicated road there, and they're coming out of an apartment complex, so it doesn't,
There's one stop sign coming out of the, traveling south, there's one stop sign out of the.
coming out of the apartment. Okay, so that's not as big of an issue there. Again, the issue is, you go to a business and you're pulling out on a Central Avenue, the rules of the road basically dictate that Central Avenue's got the right-of-way. You know that's a road and you're coming out of a parking lot. What we essentially have is the Walmart parking lot with lanes and aisles, and, I mean, you've been in there, nobody knows who's got the right-of-way because there is no right-of-way, it's a parking lot. That's essentially what we've got, is a parking lot and a alley meeting each other, so there's nothing dictating who's got the right-of-way there, so it's just, hope you don't meet in the middle kind of thing.
Do we just need a motion not to exceed the $1,900 or whatever, and have,
If you put up the signs, they have to be regulatory, otherwise it's unenforceable. They have to meet the standard size and standard installation. They can't be an 18-inch sign on a 3-foot high pole. They have to meet the standard.
but that is that enforceable is a conversation that has to be held in a public meeting, for different reasons, so can we just make,
No, it's not, because you've got code and statute.
Why don't we just do this, why don't we make a motion up to a dollar certain, have the chief and Randy go out, superintendent go out, and kind of give them the authority to figure, where you want to put the signs, maybe you don't need all 6, that's for sure, for certain, but you guys can kind of decide, you're living over there, you know what's going on.
Yeah, we'll do whatever's the minimum that we think needs to be done to fix the problem, so.
So to Al's point, let's just go with the high end, give them the high end. We're not talking about $10 million here.
What was the
It was
right number for-
2,400.
Would you want to say not to exceed $2,000 or something like that?
I'll make a motion to allocate not to exceed $2,000 for signage.
Is that the number, is that number high enough there?
Well, if we go through it, we can eliminate some signs, and that will bring that within there.
So we have a motion by Greg not to exceed 2,000 until let Chief and Randy determine where those signs should be. We need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, thanks.
There you go. So So we have item 9, any other business to come before the commission. We have the Abbenmarsh. Danny, do you want to explain that, or Bailey, or Richie?
So what you have before you is task order number 1 for our contract for overseeing the library gardens. Under the contract, the Redevelopment Commission is responsible for testing. So testing of the subgrade, the concrete, the asphalt, all the materials out there. This is a pass-through task, so whatever K&S charges us, we just pass it on through you guys. But we handle the billing and all the scheduling and everything for it. So if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Was this an unforeseen cost?
It's not unforeseen, it's part of the contract, but we try to limit it as much as possible to keep the cost down. So this is part of the contract. It was foreseen, but it just was not ever awarded.
Are there going to be any more of these unforeseen things popping up?
So the $5,000 you guys have in front of you today is to date. There might be a few more for steel and some other inspections, or if they find any other soft spots out there. But like I said, we're trying to limit it as much as possible.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item number 2, we have Bill Rapterson with a LOI.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I have a couple items for you tonight. We'll start with the easy one first. Attorney Whitten and I have been working on the leases for 6100, and the fact that we're coming to the end of the year, I'd like to have authorization for the mayor to sign the leases once Dan and I have worked out the wording with both the parties, NERC and the forum.
And we're just about there, just to follow up on that. In the hands of NERC is, what I believe to be a pretty good finalized draft for their consideration. We'll get terms all worked out, kind of stuff we discussed last time. This we're approaching the end of the year, we don't want to be getting back together on December 25th. Perhaps you guys want to give the mayor the authority to sign that lease.
And just to
Please.
let you know that I'm on the executive board of NERC, and so we did approve those leases at our meeting the other day. So the whole board was appraised of what's going on with the leases.
Really impressed with my drafting legal skill.
They didn't say anything.
It didn't come up.
Was, I just wanted you to know that the board is okay with it.
Then so at this point, where we're at, so let's just do one motion to, if you're inclined to do so, to have the mayor be authorized to sign the lease, and the addendum lease with, for at this point, we've got an addendum from the forum, Bill can describe the board, that we want to show it sweet right at the point, it's got that from their attorney, sort of piggyback and those two lease, so I think that is pretty straight on.
Yes,
So I would suggest a motion to authorize the mayor to sign both.
please.
I would make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the leases as discussed.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
My second item, giving you a little bit of history. If you remember back in May, we started discussions with several developers on properties for the north side of Portage. We had several presentations before this board, and since then, we've been working with one particular developer, and happy to report tonight that we have received an LOI, a letter of intent, outlining the terms for the purchase of Lot C, D2, and E, and options on everything north of the river. That LOI is in front of you. You have a copy of the LOI, I'm sure, in front of you now. I'll take any questions if you have any questions relative to the terms.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Well, with that, then, I would recommend to this board that you ask for a motion authorizing the mayor to sign this LOI on behalf of the board.
I'll make a motion authorizing the mayor to sign on behalf of the board.
Second.
A motion is second. Is there any further discussion?
I think, Bill, you're meeting with my successor to discuss some of this stuff.
Yes.
I haven't heard from my successor, but I have known who it is, sort of. I think you're meeting with him tomorrow.
Yes. And my plan is,
Motion subject to legal review.
yes, please.
I amend my motion, subject to legal review.
Second.
We have motion and second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion.
Congratulations. That is the accumulation of a lot of work over the past 6-7 months by this board and a lot of other people, the AJ's group and the staff and everybody. Took a lot of work. So with that, now the work begins. This is only step one, as you well know. We have a lot of work ahead of us for the next 12 to 18 months relative to this LOI. We have some production of documents that we need to develop with staff and with the RDC. So I would ask if the board could allocate $30,000 towards these documents that we have to, some have to be developed and some just have to be accumulated for them.
I'll make a motion to authorize $30,000 to assemble the necessary documents.
Second.
A motion is second. Is there any further discussion? If
All I
not,
can say is that this is a real game changer, guys. I mean, this is awesome news. Good job, Bill, good job, board. You guys have put a lot of time and effort for road trips. So, we've had a lot of suitors, as you know, over the last 4 years, and it just didn't fit. But this one is a real game changer for the city. Exciting.
it's very exciting. We're very excited to finally get to this point. So,
Yes.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is a lot of work by you, Bill, and a lot of going back and
Oh,
forth.
it's
and
just not
meeting.
me, Mayor, trust me. I was just the conductor.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge game changer for our city.
Yes, it is.
Um,
Why don't you take the opportunity to announce who it is?
Can I say their name?
Yes.
Okay, it's a chocolate company called World's Finest Chocolate. Most people know who they are because at some point or another, if you have children, they sold these chocolate bars in their school. I've eaten plenty of their chocolate. And if you've never heard of Queen Anne's cherries, one of my very favorite things, I'm excited to announce that this company is huge, and they're doing a major manufacturing expansion here in Portage. So we're
currently in Chicago, correct?
we're currently in
correct. We're
Chicago.
currently in
We've been
Chicago.
up there. We've tasted and smelled their wonderful chocolate. It's just an amazing facility, and this is a very big thing for our city. So we're happy to announce that today.
Their plans fit well within what is planned on the north side with the conservation land, the green development. Everything that was a stumbling block for a lot of the other developers, they embraced, and they fit perfectly in that land. So I'm excited to have them there. I'm excited about the work that we have to do in the next couple for I really appreciate this board. This will be the last time this board meets as a whole, as it sits right now. For Jeff and my behalf, from Macaulay Bennett as your consultant, we want to thank you. You guys have been great to work with, and this is your accomplishment.
We're
Thank
happy
you.
to accomplish that on the behalf of our city, Bill. I mean, it's all good things for our city, so.
And thanks to you and Jeff and your whole
Yeah.
team. Without you guys, it wouldn't even have happened.
Your
not
commitment
over.
and your dedication and
You're a rock star, right?
Am I as good as Dan is?
All right.
Jeff and Bill, I want to thank both of you too. This has been a major undertaking and a major accomplishment, and we're very proud today to make this announcement for this city.
We'll be watching that spot closely now. Good things for Portage. So is there any other business to come before this board at this time?
I'd like to say something to that.
Okay.
Two things. One is I want to wish everybody happy, merry, and safe holidays coming up. I hope that you guys enjoy them and relax. I also want to thank this board for giving me the opportunity to serve as your attorney for the last 4 years. It's been a real pleasure. I've come to appreciate and admire each and every one of you, and I will remember the last 4 years fondly. So thank you very much for giving me that chance.
And we appreciate everything you've done for us, Dan. I know that when we came together as a board, we were, for all intents and purposes, pretty broke as a redevelopment commission, and proud to say that we started this year with $7 million. And that's because we've made major sacrifices. We have not spent money that wasn't earmarked for redevelopment. Any project that we did, we cash flowed. And I'm very proud of that because we fought through a COVID in the very beginning, and so we have come very far as a redevelopment commission. It's just really an honor to have served on this board and with this board. You guys have been, you question, you ask questions, you didn't just bobble your head, and we made changes here in the city, so I'm very proud of that. I'm sorry about that.
Dan, why were you looking at me?
This group has been great to work with, seriously. So I look forward to the future of Portage and the things that you're going to be doing to get this piece of property developed, and driving by and smelling chocolate every time I go by there. It's like, yeah.
And Mayor, if I may, not every transition, which was important to this company, happens the way it happened with you. So there was a transitional meeting that was really critical to their decision, and you did that with grace and wonderful leadership, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeff. So thank you, everyone. If there is no further business for this board, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas.